Over the past few years, Stefon Diggs has become one of the best wide receivers in football in Buffalo, but it wasn't an easy path to the place where he is today.
Trying to make it 4. Allen, deep shot! Over the shoulder grab! Stefon Diggs!
Out of Alexandria, Virginia, Stefon was practically born into football when his father signed him up for it as only a 5-year-old. Even back then, his father believed in his talent, saying that he would have shoeboxes full of recruitment letters when he was older. That belief soon took a larger meaning when he passed away only 9 years later when Stefon was 14. Although he was still young, Stefon was pushed to become a father figure for his younger brother in Trayvon. At the time, Trayvon was only 9, so it was a lot of responsibility on Stefon, who was able to become a mentor in a sense to his younger brother, and still is to this day. Even though he had a rough upbringing, it still didn't prevent him from performing on the football field. As a junior in high school, Stefon had over 800 yards receiving and 23 touchdowns, and upon that was runner-up for the Gatorade Maryland Player of the Year. Going into his senior year, my man was looking to dominate on more than one field as a track star. From a 4.43 second 40-yard dash to a 22.3 20-meter, Stefon proved that he had elite-level speed and athleticism that helped him do his thing on the football field. Not only did he just put up nearly 808 touchdowns through the air, but my man was able to add an additional 270 and 3 on the ground, along with over 30 tackles and a sack on the defensive side. Considering how well he played that year, it wasn't much of a surprise that he was All-Metro and All-County, but after being named MVP at the All-American Combine, he was able to earn a trip to the All-American Bowl. Following a stellar performance at the Bowl, and his impressive play at Good Counsel High School, Diggs was not just a consensus 5-star recruit, but nearly top 10 in the nation. Considering all the attention, you would think that Stefon would choose a school like Ohio State, Florida, or USC, but he decided to stay close to home by committing to the good old Maryland Terrapins. Turns out his father was right, and the recruitment letters poured in, but even though he had a lot of choices, Stefon still decided to stay close to home. He had a lot more responsibility than most college kids, since he had to help take care of his younger brothers, so it was important for him to be present in their lives. Even though he was juggling a lot as only a freshman, just like his time in high school, Stefon was able to do his thing with nearly 850 yards and 6 touchdowns through the air. The performance was not just impressive, but his over 850 all-purpose yards were second in the conference and top 10 in college football because of his insane ability in special teams. All things considered, it was looking like the sky was the limit going into his sophomore year, but his season-ending injury against Wake Forest midway through the year was a sour note to end on. Even though he played in only 7 games, Stefon was still able to put up nearly 600 and 3 touchdowns, as he once again proved that he was one of the most talented players in college football. So after rehabbing throughout the offseason, my man was looking to dominate in what was looking to be his last year with the Terrapins. And although he missed a few games due to injury, Stefon was still able to put up nearly 800 yards and 5 touchdowns. A pretty solid stat line, and good enough to earn him second team All-Big Ten honors, as he figured it was time to leave for the NFL. Considering that he had dealt with injuries the past few seasons, it wasn't a shock that Stefon dropped to the late 5th round before he was selected by Minnesota.
The Minnesota Vikings select Stefon Diggs, wide receiver from Maryland.
Looking back at it now, it seems crazy, but Stefon's rookie deal was 4-year, $2.5 million, with only a guaranteed $200,000 signing bonus. As you could tell, going into the NFL, Stefon was not seen as much more than just a decent prospect, so it didn't seem like he was going to get an opportunity to prove himself as a rookie.
Wide open is Diggs. He leaps for it in the end zone. Touchdown Vikings.
Well, it turns out after being inactive for the first 3 weeks, with receivers Charles Johnson and Jarvis Wright injured, Stefon was given a shot against Denver. Surprisingly enough, he put up a team-high 87 yards and somehow was able to carry that momentum the following 3 games as he put up over 300 and had 2 touchdowns. From the beginning, Stefon proved that he was one of the best rookie wide receivers out there, and in fact his 720 yards were second in his class behind only Amari Cooper. So with that in mind, it only made sense that he earned a spot on the Pro Football Writers All-Rookie team, and yet it was only the start. Diggs and undrafted free agent Adam Thielen became one of the best wide receiver duos overnight the following year, as both were able to put up over 900, and Stefon's 75% catch rate was top 5 in the league, as my man was able to reel in over 80 catches. Even though the near 1900 combined yards were impressive, the following year the two took it up a notch. This time both eclipsed the century mark, with Stefon putting up just over 1,000 and 9 touchdowns, while Thielen had nearly 1,300 and 4 through the air. An impressive season by both, but many remember it simply by this.
Pass pass is caught. Diggs, sideline, touchdown, unbelievable.
The Minneapolis Miracle was potentially the peak of Stefon's time with the Vikings, but didn't prevent him from going off the following year. This time, his over 1,106 through the air seemed to prove that he was quickly becoming one of the best wide receivers in football. But I guess Minnesota thought otherwise.
Things heated up between the Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills, ending with Stefon Diggs being traded to Buffalo.
On March 20th, 2020, the Vikings traded Diggs and their 7th round pick that year for the Bills' 1st, 5th, and 6th round picks. You would think that move would be a mistake looking back, but the 1st round selection paid off big time.
Wants to go deep in the corner. Touchdown! Woo! Justin Jefferson.
The Bills gave up quite a bit for Stefon, showing that they believed in his potential in Buffalo, but still not many thought much of it. Considering that the Bills' main targets were Cole Beasley and John Brown before the move, let's just say the offense was wide open, with the rising star in Josh Allen leading the way. And just like at Minnesota, it didn't take long for Stefon to take advantage of it, as he went absolutely ham.
Allen off the play fake. How about this up 28-0, taking a shot, and Diggs climbs the ladder.
When I say ham, I don't mean just over 1,000 yards and a few touchdowns. I mean over 1,508 through the air, as he put together by far and away his best season to date. Even though the football world was aware that my man was talented, with Josh under center, Stefon looked like arguably a top 3 wideout in the league. So I guess it made sense that he not only made his first Pro Bowl, but was also first team All-Pro that year, behind the most yards and receptions in football. But his play was not just regular season good. He was able to help lead the Bills to an AFC Championship game against Kansas City. And although they lost in Arrowhead, Stefon had already proven that he was one of not just the most talented wide receivers, but players in football. So with that in mind, going into 2021, expectations were high on not just Stefon, but the Bills as a whole. And although he didn't put up 1,500 again, his 12-25 and career best 10 touchdowns through the year more than made up for it, as he made his 2nd straight Pro Bowl, and upon that led the Bills to yet another playoff appearance. After smoking the Patriots pack at home, Buffalo played in one of the most exciting games in NFL history against Kansas City, and while they may have lost in overtime, Josh and the gang more than proved themselves as one of the best teams in football. But anyways, back to Stefon, and considering how dominant he was over his first 2 years in Buffalo, it only made sense that he would get a bag, and so only a few months after they lost to KC, Stefon signed a 4-year, $96 million extension in order to stay with the Bills a decent bit longer. And against LA in the season opener, Stefon lived up to the deal with over 120 yards and a touchdown as they destroyed the Rams. And I think there will be a lot more of that dominance throughout the rest of the year. All the while Stefon was doing his thing in Minnesota and now in Buffalo, his younger brother Trayvon made a name for himself at Alabama and now in Dallas. A big portion of the reason why he's even here in the first place is because of what Stefon has done in his life. And since his father was a Cowboys fan, it became a dream come true. In Trayvon's case, it only took him 2 years to become dominant, as his league-leading 11 picks helped him earn not just a Pro Bowl nod, but land a spot on the first team All-Pro. Funny enough, the two brothers even matched up against each other in Vegas, something I'm sure their father would be very proud about. And since the two to this day are still really close, the fact that they are both in the league only makes it that much sweeter. Stefon was always good, but his trip to Buffalo has made him a certified superstar as Josh's #1 target. Mr. Do-It-All may be 28, but I still think there are quite a few more good years for Stefon and the Bills. And hey, you never know, maybe they'll win a Super Bowl or two. Stefon Diggs is one of the most exciting players in the league, and I don't think he is slowing down anytime soon.
Single coverage, Allen does exactly that to the end zone. Diggs has it. Touchdown!
Thanks for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment down below what stuff you want next. But anyway, see you all soon, and peace out.